8, chapter 25, part 3 of, I guess, the beginning of the air raid on Tachikawa Base. So, quick chapter summary. We see Vice Captain Hoshina interacting with, I guess we'll call him number 10 for the time being, if that works for you.
That's
okay.
Fine.
So we'll call him number 10.
By the way, I don't know why. Just this design here in this panel is just pretty dope.
I feel like there's always something. It's interesting too that there's almost like a similarity, right? Because they don't have like neither character, like neither Vice Captain Hoshina nor the Kaiju, they don't have like full eyes or anything like that. Yeah, it's just kind of like the slant, right? Yeah, it's like interesting because it's kind of like two badasses, I guess, if you will, fighting against one another. So, anyways, we see their first interaction, and the guy's actually, or the Kaiju rather, is questioning who's the strongest on the base. As Mina's not available, it's Vice Captain Hoshina. So instantaneously, this guy goes 0 to 100, almost like blasts his face off. We're seeing again more of these kind of like air attack tactics, and then we get the report from the operations room. Turns out we've got another Dai Kaiju who's an 8.3, which actually I guess is probably on scale or stronger than Kafka. So that's really interesting.
So. Yeah, I think it was probably stronger.
So their fight kind of begins, and then we also see his, I guess, what I originally thought was his eye open up, revealing more teeth, and he uses some sort of sound transmission to connect with the wyvern, and then their behavior changes. So he's clearly got some sort of like power hold over them for sure. As the fight kind of escalates between number 10 and Vice Captain Hoshina, we transition over to the rest of the soldiers and kind of look at how they're having to deal with the wyvern. Once again, Kafka's information comes in handy because he informs the rest of the units that you can't be shooting them from the front and that their cores are behind and are in their back and are weak.
So you have to Dark Souls them?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So then we see two of our regular guys, Aoi or like AOI, I have no idea how you actually pronounce that.
But these are the two. These are the we met them in the party, right?
Yeah,
like
I know. I can't remember their names.
They have big families, right?
Yeah, correct. So they were obviously assigned to the same squad, right? So we see them try and take out something together, but doubling down on this idea from last chapter that these kaiju are kind of acting far outside of their regular behavioral patterns, we see them cover one another when they're about to get attacked from behind. So it's not really giving them a chance to actually take them out in the regular way. And it looks like they're going to have a really big problem, but it's time for Shinomiya to shine with arguably one of the coolest panels in the entire series. We see her come in to save the day and just absolutely obliterate the crap out of one of these wyvern kaiju.
Right in the front too.
Yeah, well, with an axe the size of like her, basically.
Yeah.
So, oh man, dude, so cool. I freaking love that spread. That looks so dope. Like, there's also something about the swinging animation where like the one leg's like up almost in front of the axe, and that's so cool.
Because like even the force itself picked her up.
Yeah, it like it's like pulling her, right, and it's like kind of like almost bracing and trying to stop. So, oh man, this arc, this episode, it's heating up really, really quickly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if we scroll back to like the beginning and like go like toe to toe with everything. I mean, the new, I guess we're calling him 10, like just like a finger thing that we assume that's like, is that just an air blast?
I'm guessing, right? Yeah, like
that much force, or like even like the kanji when he flicks it like changes, you know what I mean, type of thing, like just
interesting. Like I hadn't caught that. Yeah, it does, because it's like very
circular, and like, you know, I could just be reading into it, right? But we have seen stuff like that done before, like, you know, previous like series like Chainsaw Man, where you see like the rev up, but it's actually the kanji of a rev up, so it's kind of funny. So is it like something small but similar? But yeah, man, this guy is like a beast. He's definitely probably stronger than Kefka, and probably obviously has some abilities that we don't know. Like you said before, when he probably has like a sonar thing where he could like control, like he has a sonar where he's controlling the wyverns, which is actually pretty wild. And also he has a harder skin.
Which was interesting, right? Because in the fight between Kaiju and Hoshina, he had was like the hardest skin he had experienced yet, right? But he was still confident in himself. And then there seems to be a little bit more hesitation with this one. He's really surprised. Even the punches themselves are something that he's like, oh crap, this is like absolutely insane, right?
Well, he does remind me, like looking back now, he reminds me like a Triceratops. So those guys look like they have hard, tough skins, right? I mean, he has a horn in the front and a tail in the back. So,
Interesting. That's not a bad comparison. I could see that for sure.
yeah.
It's also interesting too that the air blast was literally just a test for Hoshina, right? Because we see him with the follow up punch, and he's like, "Oh, you dodged that? Cool, you passed my test." And then that's where we see, the that you were talking about as well, and the behavioral changes too. And then from there, it's that huge punch that like absolutely obliterates that window, right? It's kind of interesting though because
building really.
yeah, right. Well, like all of Hoshina's panels though, compared to when he was fighting Kafka, are actually like it's mostly in the eyes, but there's actually like some panic and some fear there for once. Like there was none of that when he fought Kafka, bro. But like this time around, it actually seems he's not even 100% sure of what he's even going to be able to do about the situation.
Yeah. I mean, there could be other abilities that, we don't know they could use, or like, aside from those like double knife. And I don't think he's probably using his like 90% of his suit yet.
No, that's true. But, I think that was more of like a timing thing last time. And we also don't know if there's like a rebound or any sort of like negative repercussion for using 90%. So he could be like tired out, right? He might not even be able to use like 90% today kind of thing, just based off of that.
Well, like we could tell definitely with the suits itself, no matter what percentage they're at. I mean, the like the stuff they could do, like jumping high. I mean, we had one of the two guys that we met in the previous party chapter, so to speak, or celebration chapter, where he like jumps up and sliding against the building as soon as he's gonna shoot. Obviously, he didn't. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a cool like underlying panel that I don't want to see people didn't notice, but like it's a thing that like they could do that, right? They could like jump pretty high. They have like
well, and he's like stuck to the wall too, right?
Yeah. So he probably has like
he's not holding himself there. It's literally just his foot. He's got like some Spider-Man thing going on.
Yeah. I do like this chapter a lot. It was a pretty cool action chapter, and especially the way that it ended with this huge like a weapon reveal, so to speak.
Well, yeah, because we haven't really seen a lot of physical stuff, right? Like again, it's mostly been guns and stuff. So to see the axe come in like that was super freaking cool, bro.
Now here's the thing. Now here's a question. Overall great chapter, right? Me reading this chapter and me thinking about like this is gonna be kind of like different. I don't say it's a different conversation, but it still pertains to Kaiju No.8. I want this I want more chapters, right? Obviously, I want to see more stuff. This would be a pretty sick video game, wouldn't it be?
Oh yeah, for sure. If you did something like a la Earth Defense Force,
Earth Defense Force, Monster Hunter, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it has like that, Attack on Titan vibes type of, there's an axe weapon. Like, look at that. Like, I'm like, all right, well, I know there's a rail gun, right? Isn't there like a huge?
There is. Mina used it in the last arc.
There's dual blade. You know what I mean? We know that. There's like regular guns, obviously.
Bro, it's so. Okay, Capcom,
we're gonna get to the point.
Hear us out. We need Monster Hunter Kaiju No.8 version. That's what we need. So take out all the little things in the levels and then have like, bigger kaiju. The only thing that would be tough in a Monster Hunter World Kaiju No.8 version would be the Hoshina, Vice Captain Hoshina versus like a number 10 fight. I don't know how you'd do that in a Monster Hunter game, but that would be sick. And it's funny that you said that.
I can already see it. It's going to be Bandai Namco or Namco Bandai, I always forget, which is like the version they exist now. It's going to make... you don't like... I mean, they're not going to make it, but you know what? Screw it. Visually, it's going to be... what do you call these guys?
CyberConnect 2. That's fine if it's visually like that. I don't have an issue with that. It just better not be Naruto Ninja Storm. Get that out of here. I don't have time for that.
It's going to be Monster Hunter-esque, very similar to Freedom Wars. I know you never played that game, but that's a very similar like Monster Hunter game where like you're in jail, but it's like a 4-man team. It's going to be like Attack on Titan. I don't know who makes that. I think it's Koei actually, which is kind of funny.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it W Force? I think which is kind of also funny because they make Dynasty Warrior games. But like looking at this like last panel, I'm just saying like axe. I'm like, what other weapons is the Defense Force have? Like I gotta know. Like I'm excited to know. And like I could see a video game where like make your own character, and now you're just like a backdrop character with like the main character, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. And you can
Yeah.
still and you'd be able to like choose your weapons, right? You could do something like what Reno does. You could use like
Yeah.
the ice rounds and stuff like that. Like yeah,
Oh, for
there'd be a lot
sure.
of flexibility. Like literally the gun could be
Like they're
like the light bow gun. You
elemental.
could have the
Yeah.
rail gun as like the heavy bow gun, stuff like that. Oh, it would definitely work. It would definitely work for
What
sure.
what weapon would you want to like? You, it's believable that it exists that the defense force has.
Oh man, like that's believable and that what I would want to see. I don't know,
A
man.
giant katana?
I'm such a weeb. Yeah, that's actually what I was gonna say. Like I'm such a weeb for like giant katanas, bro. Like fucking like Sephiroth shit. Like it's I don't know, man. There's something about katanas. They're just so cool, man. I'm like I don't know if it's the scabbard or like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but they're so damn cool. So yeah, give me like a long sword from Monster Hunter. And like give it to like Kafka, and he can like infuse it with the electricity from his kaiju power, and just like
Uh,
rip through something. That'd be
and,
freaking insane.
and it's funny because like obviously we probably won't. Okay, let's. This is far into the future. In the future, right? I could tell like this series is gonna be popular when it hits the anime. It's gonna be like, oh, have you seen Kaiju No.8? Man, I've been reading that, but of course, we have to be respectful to our anime watchers, right? We can't be like, you know, penises about it. But and then it gets big, and then you have the video game coming out, so to speak. We hit that point when it comes to video games and anime, where like obviously not all of them are great. From a visual standpoint, it looks very similar. I mean, me talking about
Oh, bro,
Captain
Kakarot.
Tsubasa. Or like Kakarot, yeah, that too. Or DBZ Fighters, or even honestly the Ninja Storm games. Those games are visually like look like
Oh yeah,
Naruto.
visually they're both. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's what I'm
they're
like.
all awesome.
When I think about like visually, like I could imagine, this in a 3D animation, cutscene and stuff like that, and then obviously fighting, you know, and everything. It's yeah, I can't wait. Like maybe I don't know, 4 years. No, well,
Probably. There's not a lot,
four.
dude. With every 3 weeks being a break, for sure, for sure. Because
Yeah.
you got to think about it, right? Like this will publish less chapters in a year than any other standard manga, 110%.
Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of throw that onto the air, into the ether. Will it be made? You know what? I put money, and if I'm wrong, I'll I don't know.
You'll buy a Bandai Namco game.
I'll buy an idle game.
You'll spend $100 on AFK Arena. There you go. You heard it here.
Oh my god, I don't want to do. All right, fine. I'll spend $100. God, all right, deal.
All right, so we digressed a little bit on that, but I agree, and I definitely like the idea of it. The week of February 14th, which is when we're recording this, there was no chapter, thankfully. So we're going to be back to Kaiju No.8 on, what is it, the 17th, the 18th? Yeah, it's going to be the 18th. And we're going to see what's happening between the Vice Captain and Kaiju No.10, as well as what Shinomiya is going to be able to bring to the table a little bit more with this axe. Maybe we'll see another new weapon. It'll only time will tell, man.
Yeah,
But,
or maybe there could be a drawback to using that one too, because it seems more heavier, right? I mean, from a
for sure, right? Like, yeah, that's got to drain way more. Actually, you know what? Maybe not, because if you need to draw power from the suit in order to like do the shots and stuff like that,
Well, it could be just slower then.
yeah, like I feel like this, right? If you're just swinging your arms and stuff, it's just got to be able to handle the power you're putting into it. I don't think it necessarily needs to draw power from them unless there's some sort of like, again, Monster Hunter, maybe it switches blades or something, but that draws the power. We'll have to see next week, man. But as always, Kaiju No.8, fantastic series. Always looking forward to see what's coming up in the next week.